Utah, yes, they're having a fantastic record. They're definitely blowing a lot of expectations out the water, but it's all about how you produce it.
Brand new episode of E on the Mic, episode 19. I'm your host E, aka Ethan. And as you know, the football season is gone for certain, but it's now into the basketball season on E on the Mic as our logo. The Heat has been struggling, of course, but I got someone on today. I've been on this podcast before. It's TV on basketball. Thomas, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Watching the Raptors struggle. You speaking of your Heat struggle, and my Raptors are struggling hella, but that's something we could both relate to. But football season's done, man. It's time for basketball to show up.
I know. That's where all the basketball is starting to creepily come up since football season is over finally.
Yeah.
Finally the stress of Tom Brady winning. Yada, yada, yada. But hey, man, let me just ask you this. Where did the love of basketball come from, Thomas? I want to know this from your viewers and to mine. Where did the love of basketball come from?
Honestly, it's been around my whole life. My dad has been a basketball fan since the early 90s, and it kind of just trickled down to me. I moved to Toronto when I was 2. So ever since then, like the Toronto Raptors has been literally just playing around the house ever since I was younger. I still remember like clips of like Vince Carter from when I was like even like 4 or 5 years old watching him on TV. And even like, yo, bro, I watched my first basketball game like live when I was 5, and it was like I think it was like 5 or 6 days after Vince Carter got traded, and we got.
Damn.
And
I remember watching my team when we were with the age of Shaq, like the year when Shaq left or when he was about to leave, and we had a horrible record of 13 wins. Put it that way.
Yeah, yeah, man. I mean, like that. I mean, like it is what it is. That was kind of like. I mean, I've been used to the Raptors sucking my whole life, basically, and like
Besides
it wasn't.
recently.
Besides recently, like the last 6-7 years, the Raptors have been like constantly in the playoffs and all that. But yeah, I mean, like it all started from there. I remember that game exactly because I do have a picture in like on like my wall, like on like the other side of this camera. Like we lost 92-66 that game. Like it was like my first game ever. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of been around my whole life. I've been playing basketball my whole life, even like participated in like elementary, even like early on in high school, I started playing some basketball. And at this point, I just talk about it. I mean, I've been doing a podcast for a couple of years now. So yeah, just been loving talking about basketball.
This man more veteran than me in podcast industry, I swear.
Yeah.
Jesus. I still remember my first time going to the Heat Stadium. I remember I got a Dwayne Wade little basketball hoop and everything. I just had like a little basketball, but the basketball age already, so it's not even there no more. So I still have it across my room right here where I'm recording right here.
Yeah.
But I just remember that, and I just remember we were just losing horrendously to the Magic. That's how I remember it. It was against the Magic, and we lost them horrendously.
Yeah.
The difference is, at least the Heat got championships. The Orlando has none. That's all I care.
Yeah, exactly. You guys run Florida at this point.
We run Florida, thank God, because my Dolphins don't even run Florida. Tampa runs Florida right now.
Yeah.
I swear to God. I swear to you. But yeah, man, let me just talk about your quote unquote sponsor. You always go on TikTok or the score and all that. Your recaps. I always see you go on your recaps on talking about the latest updates on who won, who lost. I already know you probably talk a lot of crap about my Heat, so go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I just use the score. I mean, like, I don't like we talked about it before the show. Like, it's a Canadian-based company. The score is actually here in Toronto. I've actually been to their studios before. It's actually super nice and all that.
Really?
Like, yeah, it's actually super nice. And it wasn't until like I was actually on Instagram like a few years ago and I realized that a bunch of the people in the comment section of their Instagrams was a lot of US fans. So I'm like, what? Like I thought this was like, and like a lot of the US fans, like funnily enough, like because the score is Toronto based, they post a lot of Raptors and shit. So they
Yeah, I
just
noticed that.
yeah, exactly. And people are like, "Why are you posting so much about the Raptors?" And I'm like, I know you U.S. guys are new here, but this is legit a Toronto-based company. Like this is something that we've been knowing as Canadians for the longest time. I mean, I've seen like so many different shows on here. Been watching a lot of basketball, like ever since I was a kid on this, and now I'm like using their app basically all the time. And I know you're using it too. Like we were talking
Yeah,
about
I've
that before,
used
man.
that during my high school. I remember having that app through high school. So I always just remember just looking through scores to see who wins, who doesn't. I'd be shocked if someone wins, like a Timberwolves winning somebody against. I don't even
Yeah,
talk about the Wizards beating the freaking. I don't even talk Wizards beating the Heat at all. I
yeah,
don't talk about
yeah.
that.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, like, it's really easy to use. Like, I've seen like the ESPF stuff. It's like kind of slow at times and stuff like that. And the score is actually like really easy to use. Like the whole like favorite section and everything. Like, it's super nice and like the notifications and stuff.
Yeah, you should definitely get sponsored by it, especially you're in Toronto. Honestly,
Yo, yeah, exactly. The
you're
score.
legit in
Yo,
Toronto.
hit me up. TV on basketball. Yo, DM me whatever. Get me sponsored. I'll have your thing on every recap and stuff like that. And I'll definitely like shout him out and everything, bro. Yo,
Yo, let me
exactly.
get that sponsored too.
Yeah, yo,
Hey,
yeah,
Miami
okay,
base,
yeah,
come on now.
exactly. Expand the brand. Expand the brand. Yo, we got you
Or
coast to
give me
coast.
money.
Yeah, but more money, bro. Yo, we got you coast to coast. Exactly.
Come on now. I know you.
Yeah.
I know you guys had some enjoyment when you guys beat us in the was the second round against D Wade and that 2016 squad. Man, I still to this day still wish my squad beat your squad because you guys in the next round got swept by LeBron's Cavs.
Okay, that was a year we did. Okay, we didn't get swept that year. That was a year we won 6 games with the Cavs, but it basically was a sweep. They were the best team.
Secondly, because they always kick you off the dirt
Yeah,
the
exactly.
century.
I know. And I remember that series too, man. Like, correct me if I'm wrong. That was the one where Kyle Lowry like half court shot, like it tied the game and went to overtime and stuff. Like, I remember
I
all
hated that
those.
shot so much.
No,
That really defined the series. I was like, no, this man did not make it. Because we were
yo,
about to lead that series. I was so salty that we lost that one. But
bro, you know what was bad when D Wade was underneath the hoop. He was on one knee and he saw it go in, and yo, his face was like devastated,
oh
bro.
my gosh, because you were just wishing that go off. But I was
Yeah,
like, damn it. I had
yeah,
to watch the friggin' overtime to lose.
yeah.
God. But enough of my suffering. Let's talk about Toronto's suffering as well as my Heat as well. How
Oh
they've been
gosh.
struggling so much in the East. Surprising, Toronto's still in the playoff contention with the eighth seed right now. If we were talking about the West, they would be like in the 10th or 11th seed right now.
We'd be 11th. We would be
What
11th
is the
right now.
struggles going on with Toronto? What's the difference that you've seen since the collapse of the championship from then to now?
Um, the biggest difference really from the Toronto Raptors since then was obviously we lost Kawhi. We obviously lost Kawhi, but you saw last year, even after losing Kawhi, we still had the core group of guys. I mean, obviously Danny Green left as well, but
And Serge
people,
Ibaka.
Sergi, I mean, yeah, but I mean, like I'm talking about last year's team. Like Serge was still there, Mark was still there.
Yeah.
They were still able to do well, and they pushed the Celtics to 7 games, in the second round last in the bubble. But this year we lost Serge Ibaka, we lost Marcus Gasol, and obviously those hurt as Raptor fans. Those two guys were the two anchors of our championship teams, and they were like kind of like beloved by Toronto. So it sucked to see him go. More Serge than Mark. I mean, Serge was like filming shows here and stuff like that. Like he was just honestly like an awesome guy. Like he's like one of the funniest guys like in the NBA right now. But losing to those two guys, man, it hurts. And we tried to replace them with Aaron Baines, who, by the way, is absolute garbage. And and I mean, and Alex Len, who we released 2 weeks into the season. I mean, the only saving grace from the center position is um Chris Boucher, who's actually having a pretty good year for us so far. I mean, like 14 points a game and stuff like that. He's having a career year, but at the end of the day, the Raptors just like are just losing those veteran presence like on the court. We still have Kyle Lowry. He's still doing his thing, but you've seen what Pascal Siakam. I mean, you've definitely watched the playoffs in the bubble and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Siakam has not looked the same. Fred Van Vliet has taken charge as like the second ball handler, and he's been playing good. But
Drake lookalike.
yeah,
As I
Drake
call him.
look. Yeah, I mean, freaking, we over here in Canada we call him Freddie Vandale because on a broadcast one time Drake was wearing a sombrero at a Raptor game, and he started calling Freddie Vandale. So that started becoming a thing here in Toronto. So,
Oh my
um,
gosh.
yeah, I mean, it's jokes over here. It's jokes over here. But at the end of the day, missing those two big men sucks, and we really don't have like a true number one guy right now, and that's what's missing with the Raptors.
Yeah, I can agree with you more. They've just been struggling. You just notice that they're not really the same team as you saw last year in the bubble. Honestly, they were about to get to the conference championship
Yeah,
had they won the game seven, because that series was tight, close. The overtime was like
very,
neck
very.
and neck, and it was like it was one or the other was gonna go and face off Miami. And both of those teams were gonna get trashed off into into the abyss. But if I'm being honest,
we would have given a bigger fight. I still think we would have lost to Miami because Miami was absolutely fantastic in the playoffs. But I think we would have given a bigger fight than the Boston Celtics.
I think so, but it was both teams were going to be tough for us. I really thought so, because I think the Celtics were killing our ass at some point in time, and during the
Yeah.
series. It was like neck and neck. It was always neck and neck until the Lakers. We played the Lakers and they were oversized us. So
Yeah. But the thing was, I mean, like, what you had Bam. Bam was dominating Daniel Tice the whole series, and you wouldn't like that. Wouldn't be like much of a case if he was getting defended by Marcus Gasol and Serge Ibaka. But
yeah, and then we had shooters, so the shooters kept going well for us.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you guys would probably still won, but I think we would have given a bigger fight in Boston. But yeah, big drop off. I mean, both our teams are struggling, man. Both our teams.
Yeah, the strangest thing is both our teams, the Knicks are better than us right now. That's a funny thing right now. The Knicks are better than both of our teams. That's the worst nightmare.
Yeah, it's how to like we've been dominating our division for the longest time now. Like Boston was trash for like the mid 2010s, so we were like basically number one every year. Now Boston's doing really well. Now Philadelphia is doing really well. Now Brooklyn is, and
Yeah.
now even the Knicks, man, like it hurts.
I mean, for my team though, I think we still got a chance of division, because our division is not that as great, because our leaders, the Hornets, and they're trying a little bit below 500. If I'm mistaken, with the Hornets, and then it's just us, the Hawks, the Magic, the Wizards.
Yeah.
So it's it's anybody's division, but it's gonna be like an 8 division.
Yeah, it's literally the opposite division. I mean, like what? Like four of our teams are in the playoff. Basically, five of us. Our entire division is in the playoffs if the season ended today, and yours is like what? Charlotte, and that's it.
Charlotte's the only one that's can actually make the playoffs. Everybody else is like underneath.
Gosh. That's it. That's insane.
It's a trash division right now. It's not that hot. I thought the Hawks were gonna do something, but they were fire at one point and then they depleted. So like they usually do.
Yeah, I mean for sure. But I mean,
but Julius Randle though is having a great year. Like I didn't think that he was gonna be like that. I thought it was just another guy, another star. It's like, all right, he's just gonna do his points, But he's been doing impressive numbers. 44 points the other night. I was like, damn.
Yeah, and I'm just surprised he's been able to keep it up all season. Like the Knicks, like the fact that they're basically at 500 near the All-Star break, like kudos to them. They've been playing really well under Thibodeau.
Especially since I was wishing for them to actually go up and then go right back down, because that's usually how they usually start out with.
Yeah.
They start off strong and then they just disappoint at the end of the season.
Yeah, which was fun. Yeah, I mean that was funny because do you remember early in the season the Cavs were like over 500 and stuff?
Yes.
And everyone.
Yes. Yeah. I think everyone was hyping them up, and then now they're just like below.
Yeah. They're 13th right now, and I thought that was the same thing was gonna happen to the Knicks, but they're still here, so
So
good on them.
We'll see. Now, speaking of, are they still here? The Jazz has been pretty impressive in the West, especially how tough the West is. They only lost 5 games out of the 30. So that's very impressive, especially being the West and their first seed over the Lakers. And my question is, are they for real, or they're just a regular season team like the Bucks, where they do well in the regular season and then they get eliminated in the second round or conference championship?
Okay. So, I mean, you were both on Sports Me, you know that. So you've seen me like end this battle with people, like whether the Jazz are legit or not. For me, the Jazz are one of those teams where you have to compare them to the Milwaukee Bucks. You have to compare them to the Atlanta Hawks of like 2015. Very good regular season teams, but can they get it done in the playoffs? And that's what the NBA has shown us the last few years. Like, if you have proven it time and time again, we're going to keep trusting them that they're going to be the ones like coming up on top. Who are the teams that we consider the favorites right now in the NBA? The Lakers. Who do they have? LeBron James, who's been to 9 of the 10 finals over the last decade. The Clippers, they have Kawhi Leonard, who has been to the finals multiple times. The Brooklyn Nets, they've had Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, who are both NBA finalists at one point and also have won championships.
And Harden.
Exactly. And Utah, yes, they're having a fantastic record. They're definitely blowing a lot of expectations out the water, but it's all about how you produce in the postseason. And what is the last thing that the Jazz have done in the playoffs? Last year in the bubble, they had a 3-1 lead up against the Denver Nuggets. What did they do? They gave it up.
Away.
They choked it away. And although Donovan Mitchell was averaging over 40 points a game, like had multiple 50-point games in that series, it still wasn't enough. And we've seen like instances the Jazz have been to the playoffs every year Donovan Mitchell has been in that team. And every single year, it's the same thing. Donovan Mitchell does not compare to some of these guys, like some of these superstars who we know can take teams to the finals. We've seen like Rudy Gobert, who is always a defensive player of the year candidate, get played off the floor because he is just too slow to handle some of these athletic bigs. Like, I want to say that the Jazz can do well. I want to see them like challenge the Lakers and the Clippers, but this is the playoffs are a completely different beast in the regular season.
Oh yeah.
And even more so like in the NBA more than the NFL. Like in the NFL, like a lot of the season, because it's also one game series as well. If you have momentum in the regular season and you've been like playing like really well throughout, you have a good chance of making the Super Bowl because you have stuff figured out on a week-to-week basis. In the NBA, we always hear the term flip the switch. Can this team flip the switch when they hit the playoffs? And we don't know if the Jazz can do that yet. So it's more of a wait and see. I still think they're going to finish top 3 in the West. But again, it's wait and see. Can they do it in the playoffs?
Yeah, I gotta agree with you there. I just think the Jazz, they're doing an impressive job. Now they have a tough road schedule with the Clippers twice, and they got to play the Lakers. The top seed is really in the West, so that's really going to show true their colors. Are they real, or they're just pretenders and just beating the crap out of the East teams like so badly? Like the Hawks, for example, got crushed. The Heat got crushed badly the other day, 112-94, if I remember exactly the score in there. So they can dominate the East teams, no problem. But can they actually dominate the West teams like the Clippers right now? Since they don't have their stars like Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, they have mostly their backups besides their one star Serge Ibaka right now. So that's a question. And the Lakers right now, can they beat LeBron James without AD, who's been hurt with Achilles, which is probably gonna miss out a couple of weeks, and probably be back after All-Star game. This is not a serious injury with Achilles. He walked by himself. He didn't have to carry out. If he was carrying like this, yeah, he's gone. He's gone for the season. But he kind of walked it, but of course, it's Achilles injury,
Yeah, exactly.
And then the Nuggets as well. The Warriors, even though the Warriors are 8th seed, they're still a tough team to come around and beat too at the same time. But although it's going to come down to the end of the playoffs, especially the playoffs is a different beast. Like you said, comparison from the NFL, the NBA. It's going to come down to can Mitchell do in the playoffs?
Yeah.
Can he? We'll see, because I don't want to see like a Bucks comparison where the Bucks were so great like the past 2 seasons, and then once playoff time they dominate, they lock, let's say, Mitchell down, and then he's out for the series.
Yeah. The thing is though, it's like with the Utah Jazz, they have the pieces, and the only thing is, it's like they don't have a Giannis type player. They don't have a LeBron type player. It's more of a collective effort that they're getting. And can that win a championship? That is a question, because if we look at even like the last few years, who won the championship? It's the stars. Whoever has the biggest stars, whoever has the best players, always seem to pull out the win in the championship. So yeah, the Jazz, I don't think they have that yet, but hopefully, I mean, if they can do it down in the playoffs, prove me wrong, prove everyone else wrong.
It's going to be tough, especially since the Jazz had to play the big Lakers. So we'll see.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough, because that's what happened with the Heat in the finals. The Heat were undersized and they got dominated. So
yeah,
but we didn't get swept, so thank God for that.
Yeah, and you guys were injured. I'm not taking that away from you. You guys were injured early.
Tragic, got injured in the first game. Bam.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
we gave 2 games in, so it's all right. We got 2 games in. One person told me we were going to sweep. Thank God we didn't, but still, there were a bunch of freaking Lakers fans.
No, for sure. I had Lakers fans. I had them going 5 games, but I'm glad it went 6, because Jimmy Butler was absolutely phenomenal in those 2 wins. He was so good.
I wish we still won the finals, though.
Honestly, man, that would have been so cool to watch. Jimmy Butler win an NBA Finals as the number one guy. That would have been so cool.
Oh my god, I would have gone crazy already. I
Yeah,
wouldn't believe it.
yeah,
But yeah, but let me just go to the last topic I got for today. So there's been saying because Luka's been struggling with the Mavericks right now. Are they saying is he a superstar? Is he struggling? What do you really think about Luka right now? I think he's like a superstar just because from the bubble and now he's this team struggling. But what do you think? I want to hear this.
yeah. The term superstar is really like a lot of people have their own definitions of it, because like what I consider a superstar is a player that has immense talent that can get you to the playoffs every single year. And Luka is one of those guys. I mean, even though they had such a rough start to the season, like they're only what 3 games or something like that behind the 8th seed. They'll make the playoffs. They'll make the playoffs for sure, just because Luka is that good of a player. And over these last 2 years, he's averaging what, a near triple double. We've seen what he could do to the Clippers over there in the bubble. I mean, it's just a rough start for the Mavericks. And I would really like to compare like Luka Doncic's situation right now to how AD was before he joined the Lakers. Because when AD was on that New Orleans Pelicans team, he had Drew Holiday there, who I like to compare to Kristaps Porzingis as like the second guy for the star, Anthony Davis, and here in the Mavericks, Luka Doncic. But their team is just not ready. Their team is just not ready to compete, and that's okay because Luka is good enough to take you guys at least into the playoffs. And there's not a lot of players in those, like a lot of players like that in the league. I mean, you have LeBron, you have Kawhi, you have um, you have Damian Lillard, Steph Curry, who's been doing that really good right now, KD, James Harden. Like it's a select few of guys, but it really does depend like what you classify as a superstar. And I think like from a lot of people I've spoken to, Luka Doncic is that, and I have to agree with them. He's putting up ridiculous numbers, MVP like numbers. It's just the record just doesn't reflect it, and it's not solely because of him. He just like a lot of the Maverick struggles had to do with COVID early in the season. They've had some injuries as well, but they'll make it. They'll make it to the playoffs. Luka Doncic will still average a near 30-point triple double. He's a superstar. He's a superstar.
I gotta agree with you. I really thought he was an actual superstar. He really is a superstar to me. In me, how he played in the bubble, and now especially trying to carry his team to the playoff run, especially with the team that's been deteriorating. Porzingis is not the same Porzingis that you saw with the Knicks now. And it's just really Luka. It's really Luka's team. Really, it's kind of how like Dirk Nowitzki when he was like struggling to get to the playoffs and get to that promised land. That's how I'll compare himself to. It's like the struggles that Luka has right now. Just comparing to Dirk Nowitzki when he had struggles during those odd years they didn't make the playoffs, and it was just up to him, before that 2011 NBA Finals.
Yeah,
You kind of think about it.
yeah, and people have to remember, like this is his 3rd year in the league. Like this is like the way that he's like already like showcasing himself as a top 10 NBA player right now. This is only his 3rd year. He is 22 years of age, like 21 years of age at this point. He is turning, I think, 22, February 28th. Yeah, so it's like this month he's turning 22 years old. He has a lot of time. He has a lot of time, and he's gonna basically be with the Mavs with the whole contract situation in the NBA. He's probably gonna be there for another 5 or 6 years, like after his rookie contract. But yeah, just give him time, man. I mean, like the Mavericks still like are trying to build a team around him. I trust that a Rick Carlisle led team and a Mark Cuban owned team can like put the pieces around him. So give him time.
I trust Mark Cuban making that decision, especially since everyone's throwing everybody on the bus after like the first few years. They're like, all right, so are you a superstar or you're not? Are you a bus? Like, I just don't like that anticipation where it's like everyone's already thrown under the bus after like, okay, the first 3 years he's not a superstar, he's out. He's not the real deal. I was like, give the kid a chance, like.
Yeah. I mean, the thing with Doncic is that he has like ever since last year, he has been like already like put among like the top guys in the NBA, and he's always going to be compared to them at this point. Like usually, if you're like a 3rd-year player, you're being compared to people in your draft class and stuff like that. But Luka Doncic is just a complete different monster. Like he has a chance to be an all-time great, and people are holding him to that standard. But you still got to give him time. You got to give time to this guy. And like I said, they're still going to make the playoffs. That's still not going to be an issue in my opinion. But you got to give the kid some time.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I know I said that was the last one, but I actually want to bring up Kyle Lowry because I know we didn't
Yeah,
really talk about Kyle Lowry
yeah.
too much. I've been hearing
All right.
him with trade rumors so many times. I hear a connection with the Heat, which the Heat are kind of backed off with.
Yeah.
Now with the Wizards saying, "Oh, we can give you Westbrook for Lowry," and
Oh
then
my gosh.
Lowry sold his
No,
house.
no, no, no,
You want you
Westbrook,
want to control
Westbrook.
ball freak in there?
No, 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 Westbrook, go away, go away. Okay, go on. Just
No,
no
you want
Westbrook.
Bradley Beal instead, though.
Exactly, exactly.
You want
Just
Bradley
no
Beal,
Westbrook.
but I know the Wizards will gladly give you Westbrook for Lowry.
Yes. I'm please get Westbrook out of here.
What do you think of that situation with Kyle Lowry rumors getting traded? Is that gonna be like an ugly ending to your team for Kyle Lowry?
No, I don't think so. Kyle Lowry, um, I've mentioned this on the Sports Me app. I think you probably have seen it. I think he's the greatest Raptor of all time, and not a lot. And I think like the way that Bradley Beal is being treated in Washington right now, where the owner has come on and said, "Look, we're not gonna trade him unless he wants to be traded. We've made this agreement prior to this contract that um, when Beal wants to go, he'll go, but it seems like Beal wants to stay there." I think that's the same thing that's happening with Kyle Lowry, and the deal is not going to get done unless Kyle Lowry goes up to Masai Ujiri and tells him, "Look, I think it's time for me to go." And I don't think it's going to be this season. I know there have been a lot of rumors that the Raptors are thinking of doing it, but at the end of the day, I think it is Kyle Lowry's decision. Like you said, the Miami Heat your Miami Heat has been in rumors, not so much anymore. I know the Philadelphia 76ers has been one of the main targets um, um, for Kyle Lowry because he's also from Philly as well. The Clippers, although they have no assets at all, I don't know what the hell they're going to trade for him. They're they're somehow in the mix. But at the end of the day, like I said, Kyle Lowry, it'll be his decision. I think it's a lot more likely for Kyle Lowry to kind of finish off his contract this season and either sign a shorter deal or move on to a different team, whether it's the Miami Heat, whether it's the Philadelphia 76ers, rather than him getting traded. I think like he wants to kind of like ride it out at least for this last year and try to make some
Yeah,
noise. But you know, I mean, at the end of the day, the Raptor fans love him here. They love him over here, and I think he has that respect from the fans that if he wants to leave, we'll respect it. We want him to succeed no matter what. And I think he has that respect with Masai Ujiri, where in Toronto, it's been an up and down relationship with him and Masai. I mean, they started off great, but after he traded away his best friend DeMar DeRozan,
yeah.
they they weren't on speaking terms for a bit. I know Kyle Lowry called him out in a couple of interviews, but
It was worth
through the
it.
it was worth it. Yeah, 100% worth it. But through those ups and downs, I think they've have like a level of has a level of respect for each other. And I think at the end of the day, if Kyle Lowry decides he wants to leave, then he'll leave, and we'll be okay with it.
Yeah, trust me. I think you guys probably want DeMar DeRozan back a little bit.
Um, hey, if we can bring in Demar next year in free agency, I think we can bring back Kyle. Let's run it back. Let's see if we can win it with the old gang back together. I wouldn't mind that, but at the end of the day, I mean,
Y'all be running
I,
back to second round exits with that squad.
yeah. So maybe not, maybe not. Maybe it's time to like get other people. But at the end of the day, yeah. I mean, no matter what Kyle Lowry does, we'll always love him here in Toronto. We already talked about building a statue of the guy over here.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, he means a lot to this organization, man. He's that type of guy. He's basically our Dwayne Wade, man. He's basically our like he's your like
We the
Dwayne Wade.
North. We the North is Kyle Lowry.
Exactly, yeah. He represents Toronto at this point, man. No matter what.
It's called Wade County. Is by the way. It's
Yeah,
Wade
yo,
County.
yeah. Miami's always Wade County, man. No matter what, it'll always be Wade County.
No matter what, man. But I do appreciate you coming on the show, Thomas. I really do
Yeah,
appreciate that so much. I
yeah,
do respect your game there, TV on basketball. It's always
yeah,
very intriguing, and I always see you on Sports Me app, and we're gonna have great debates and those as well. I
yeah,
know that.
for sure. And whoever's listening to this, join on the app. It's actually hella fun. You get to debate me. You get to debate Ethan. It's super fun, man. It's super fun.
Yes, sir, indeed. Sports Me app. Check that out, and then you can debate me on some certain topics there. You can just kind of diss me with music, but hey, it's all good. It's
hey,
all good.
hey, this guy's firing shots at the end. I see you. I see
It's all
you.
good. But at the end of the day, thank you guys for listening to E on the Mic, episode 19. I am your host, E, and I'll see you next time, episode 20. Trippy Bets is coming on episode 20. Till then, see you then.
Peace, guys.